Hi everybody, my name is Andrea.
My name is Ming. We are from
Landed Broker.
Today we are here at Renaissance Experience Lab. Why are we here today?
So as you know, as the name suggests, Landed Broker, we do a lot of landed homes. So we do always receive queries and questions from our sellers and buyers. So with that, we've decided to actually have a very special guest today, Kelvin, the Lao Jiao, who is from Renaissance. He's a design and build consultant who is going to share with us more of the insights into some of these common questions that we get. So, Kelvin, maybe you share a bit on your background and your experience with us first, and what do you actually do?
Renaissance has been designing and building landed homes since 2000. The whole company was celebrated 3 months ago, our 33rd year in this industry. So we specializes in, helping clients, look for potential houses and what are the challenges going forward in terms of looking at the structures, interviewing them, designing the actual spaces that they require. So over the last 30 over years, we have already built approximately about 150 units throughout Singapore. Yeah.
Wow, indeed, really a Lao Jiao. What inspires your design for the houses?
Well, to me, over the years, I've developed not to follow a certain particular style, but rather to really carry out a lot of interviews. It's really about understanding the client's lifestyle and also planning that in future, how should a house evolve, and how the challenging needs, as kids grows up, parents gets older, and couples need a bit more space. So these are where, when we undertake a project, day one, we try to sort of design it in such a big and long-term view itself. So over the years, we've seen our clients where, they don't really sort of sell the house away because the kids and all that really love, what we're, sort of curated for them. And this space itself sort of live with them. So they don't really want to move or even sell it. So that's one of the more encouraging things. Then on our website, you can see all the houses and you can still drive by and the houses. Some houses may have changed hands, but somehow the layout, the space itself endures. So that's the main reason. So I don't have a particular style.
You're really leaving a legacy for all the houses, for their families. You even know some of their parents, and now their kids also engage you to be their consultant. So Andrea, while we are being the agents for landed homes, what are the common questions you get from buyers?
Actually, one very common question, I think also something to do with design, is does the building height control, envelope control guidelines actually have any constraints with your design? Or how do you actually go around to work around these guidelines that is actually being practiced?
Well, in today's time and age, everything is available. You can go to your URA portal and everything is restated. Definitely from a design and build specialist point of view, to really tear it down. But the coming years, or even if we've always been, very focused on not insisting on one particular path. So definitely in terms of height itself, if clients chooses to do an A&A itself, then we got to convert within the current low headroom, etc. And we will try to max out. For example, if it's a 2-story zoning, we'll probably try to go for another half an attic definition, which means that it can easily increase another inter-terraces. You will probably be able to increase for GFA alone. You're probably looking at 1,000 square footage easily. Non-GFA is where the terraces and all that, So these are some of that we find that the height itself doesn't relate in the A&A context, but rather in the rebuild context where you tear down. Even though if it's a 2-story, we can always insert a mezzanine and we can go for another attic level, which means it's a total of 4 stories.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
One of the common things I face when I serve buyers buying landed homes is that they always ask me about the setback, whether it's 7 meters, 4.5, and the back 2 and all this. Do you have the same problem with me also?
Yeah, actually I do have a lot of questions with that, because sometimes we see certain house, they do build all the way to the back. Like for example, one good example is Opera Estate. You see a lot of times, right, the back alley is actually is empty, and then the houses are basically constructed all the way to the back. So they do not adhere to the 2 meters guideline that is stated. So is that allowed?
Well, to be very clear, I just checked, based on what I've done in the past, a couple of houses with it in either street, which is what you mentioned, right, Opera Estate. We're also done in Pintau and all, where it's what we call the street walk plan in the definition of URA, where land plots are extremely small, and the government understands that if you're going to comply with the usual setback itself, then the living space plus the household shelters is not possible. So there are certain, parts of Singapore where, because of the heritage, because based on the land contours and based on what it was in the past from the British, the colonial times, there are certain plots itself where what we define them as a street walk planning from a URA context. In terms of not building all the way, to be very clear, even though there is a street walk plan of 4.5 setback from the road, the rear will still require a 1 meter. So to have I don't understand land property agents, you can build all the way to the back.
Yeah.
But if we really read what the code states, it's really that you still need a setback.
So is it something that maybe the homeowners actually wrote in to have a special exemption to the...
Yeah, because the rules are very clear. I mean, we are all, so even when my design team and my QP teams, do the official submission, all that, we still have to read the bycodes of the rules. There are mainly about 7 to 8 departments.
Yeah.
It's not only like most of the time, some homeowners may ask you, I know I read URA, but it's not only that, we have got BCA, you have got PIN BCUS, you've got SCDF, you've got fire itself, sometimes 4 stories, you've got to do a calculation on the window openings, in terms of in case there's an event, there's a fire, what happens. So there are quite a fair bit of regulations, not where I do understand where your colleagues or some of my potential business associates like yourself, agents, where they tell us, that's what I read, So a lot of times it's a lot of codes that comes in. So this is one of the factors I like to share, so that you don't just literally take it, because that's what URA is.
Yeah, basically we take it like a Bible, because sometimes we know that there's a 2 meter setback, there's a 7.5, but we actually don't know what's the reason. It's a legacy that was there since day one. So is there a very guideline, why is there such a regulation?
Well, regulations is mainly, Singapore, as you can see, to me, it's regulated, it's mainly from a master planning point of view. It's things are very coherent. Not like in some neighboring countries where you drive by, then you see these monstrous looking huge houses where they don't really convert to the local codes, But I think Singapore is well regulated, but yet at the same time, it allows us to sort of design and at the same time to build within, So when you drive into certain streets and all that, you don't get a humongous house appearing, from a streetscape point of view. So I think it's quite interesting.
Yeah, quite interesting, and also it's it's uniform.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's
I think it's more to make it uniform so that it looks pleasant as well. We always have different sizes houses in the street. Yeah, look quite ugly.
Oh yes.
Yeah, this topic of the setbacks. Another question would be some of the houses we saw the side setback. When the site is the main road. Let's say East Coast Road, Marine Parade Road, or Teluk Kurau Road, Steel Road. So happens that by the side of my house, usually it's 2 meter setback, right?
Yes.
What happened? The side of my house is the main road. So what is the setback for that? A lot of people are very confused with this. So I think today is a good.
Yeah, sure. I think really of the typography, which I can probably show later. It depends. For example, if your main gate is facing the main road, then definitely the definition is from itself, right? So there are certain plots of land which I'm aware that on Teluk Kurau or that, there's certain plots where instead of having the usual rectangular, that means when you're in front of the gate itself, you go right in, you've got depth of say 20 meters or 25 meters. But in this case itself, it's the length, the sort of the main house facing the road. 25 meters. So in terms of the setback itself, there are certain areas where the doors, the main door itself is 7.5, but certain protrusion part of the house will get pushed up.
Wow, that sounds very profound. So right now you know that you must engage the very correct agent and also the design and build consultant
Yes.
to help you find the right home. Am I right? So
Right.
what other questions you think that faces?
Yeah, actually, there's quite a lot that comes also O&A. We come across a lot of the older houses, which just now Kelvin mentioned about A&A building another attic. So, if they do to build another attic, can they actually build to the max guideline of either 12 meters or the 15 meters? Can they do that? Do they follow that guideline when they build?
Definitely, we still got to design and submit based on the orders. The old semi-detached, I believe it's from NPL level. First story is usually about 3 meters, and then the second story is at another 3 or 3.3. The roof itself is a pitch roof. The semi-detached, for example, is another 3 meters. So you can literally go like for another 12 meters in height. But the question is, if you want to max it out, then the question is not whether is it buildable. The question is whether is the structure strong enough to be able to cater for another 2-story.
Exactly.
Which is
Like, do they need to? Can you just easily build an attic, or
they can easily build another level.
Piling is required? What
are the requirements needed?
On the east side is mainly
Very
when
clean.
we look at the structural, it's really about soft ground. Not all. Certain parts of Ida, it's quite hard. It depends on whether is it coming down from Siglap Hill and all that. So it's really on where the locations are. But coming back to whether you can just directly add without strengthening, that is really something that we need to look at the actual unit itself. What we have done is we have done houses that are in the 70s where client says, look, I don't need so many rooms.
Yeah.
I just want to add up. So we have got over the years, we acquired some engineering, or what we call re-engineering thinking, where we uses steel bond deck, and then we have a lightweight system and all that, so as not to stress the current structures. These are all approved by BCA. Right?
So am I correct to say that if a client come in and tell us that they need to build another level, the third story from the 2-story house,
Yes.
the soil test should be done? Is it necessary?
Yeah, there are a couple of tests that we do. Like most of my associates, what we do is mainly to ascertain first is the ground foundation. Then we also test what we call a uniform plate test. What does that mean is mainly that they have a certain equipment where they test the rebound in terms of whether the structure itself is it solid. Because over the years, concrete grades have sort of increased. In the old days, maybe it's designed for 25 kilonewtons. Nowadays, they're designing for 35 kilonewtons. And the grade of concrete nowadays is close to 35. In the old days, 25. So things that improve, and at the same time, some old days, they are all side mix. So they may have some porosity, stuff like that. So these are where if we go into a project itself, we don't promise, but we do tell the clients that we choose a route of A&A, then we would need to do this basic test. And at the same time, the PEs are required to come down. They themselves are signing off as structural QPs. They need to be extremely certain that yes, their design adheres to the current code. At the same time, based on the condition itself, the structures are robust enough to have another level. Yeah.
Looks like it's a lot of skills that we need to really seek a trend.
And all those consultant jargon.
So I think one of the question, right, that be the next question that people ask is how much would it cost to do this?
So this cost is really about, I always explain to my clients, when I do interviews with clients, mainly is what is a must-have, and the other way, what is a good to have. So the must-have is sometimes the clients, they themselves, because they got elderly aged parents, they really need a lift. So for us, when we go in there, where is okay, where is the actual spot where we can really plug in the lift, either a traction lift or a hydraulic lift, a platform lift, my apologies. It's, so that is a must-have. A good to have is, could I have a spiral staircase? Could I have a sort of like a very nice slab match marble bathroom, So it's to me, it's always looking at what is the must-have. Like EV chargers is a must-have. The solar panels out there is a must-have because it really helps you bring down the cost. Whether is it a pool really required, whether is it a jacuzzi required, a sauna required. I've got clients who have requests having rock climbing wall for their kids, but that's a must-have to them because that's what the family requires. So it's something where all this boils down to one thing, and that influences cost. So the magic formula that I know that most agents, like Ming was talking to me the other day over coffee, it's like, clients would want to go into numbers, but I would find that the numbers for landed homes compared to the developments that are going downtown or even in all the ECs and all that, it will not over more than $800 PS. So as a landed home owner, if you do a price comparison itself with additional gross floor area you're having, valuations are different. So it's something that you're not taking a very big risk compared to developers where they come in, buy the land, and then they got build, and then they got engage main contractors, etc. So for landed homes to do A&A to get additional GFA is something which I think is not going to break the bank.
So what's your must-have? Kelvin was saying the must-have. So if you buy a landed house, what do you think?
I think I would need a solar panel and very important, so that I can rear chickens inside. Okay.
Kelvin, that is a must-have already, Kelvin. Your must-have is a bar. We can forget for whiskey.
Big giant show.
Yeah. And
A
then
lot of times also these days people do have more than one car.
I realized that.
Yeah, and so I think the older houses typically they are only cater for one car parking.
Usually the driveway is
Yeah,
nice,
correct.
the gate. So we have customers, buyers coming to us and say that, hey Ming or Andrea, hey, you see my house the door, the gate so small I want to make it bigger can or not?
It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Can.
But we got to also look in terms of context. Again, this falls under the LTA itself, where usual, for example, like in areas I operate that I come back again, where at First Street and all that, the old days, the inter-terrace is always 6 meters more. Some is really 6.5 and all that. So the LTA rules is that you can extend your car park, but not more than 3 meters, because if it's 3 and 3, so that from the streetscape itself is really very neat, right? So the opening itself is 3 meters, then you put your amenities. Usually I like to have a small little side gate. I also like to put in the lit-in pipes, all the electrical, the letterbox, and obviously nowadays my clients are asking, Kelvin, I need to have my parcels, they buy everything from online. Yeah, so they have got certain locks. They come in, they press, they send the barcodes, the thing unlock, they can put the parcels in, shut it. So on inter-terraces, that's how it is. Semi-detached, however, is very different. So nowadays what I try to do itself is really to have no columns. Obviously it may cost slightly a little bit more, like what we call the cantilever RC slab, where you could have a sort of a terrace upstairs, and then easily park 2 or 3 cars, Yeah, so that's interesting.
Yeah, the front gate you can park, you make it bigger, 2 to 3 cars, but the pavement going in, that's the challenge. So if the pavement going in is being covered by the
Walkway,
the grass,
Yeah. Can you remove that?
We could.
Is that something that
If your width is, say, enlarge it not more than 5 meters, you can either have a sliding gate. A swing gate is not advisable because truth to be told, the gate can't swing. The gate can swing into your property. So I will always design it with a sliding gate, so it's easy, and then it's, get that little, a wider width. So just for me, when my wife drives and all that, she's also, I can't see the back, can you, blind spots and all that. So technically, the culvert, certain areas in the east side still have a type C drain where it's open. But if you see that it's all enclosed, what we call a box drain itself, it may cost you a little bit more to sort of construct it, because you literally got to sort of open up, and there's things like gas pipe, water pipe, you need to have diversions. Yeah,
So all this you need to do application to the
authorities as well.
to
Yeah,
allow it.
correct. Yeah, hopefully there's no sewer line throughout the house, because that one is going to cost you a bomb to sort of divert this round steel chamber that's on the floor. Yeah.
I realized that housing, buying landed houses is really catered to what the buyer wants. So one of the common thing which some buyers, they would like to have a swimming pool. Then what happens if the garden area is being, there is this IC at the garden area where they want to build a swimming pool? What can be done?
Well, first is whether the setback is sufficient. So usually for pool design, I like to build it like a width of about 3 meters. Then the actual internal width is only about 2.5. And having said that, you still need people to walk around it to sort of maintain it, because that, I think, to me, designing it nice is one thing. Over the years, we also try to put in a lot of practicality function, and the question is always maintain it. One of the thoughts that we are doing nowadays is the pool. The house line for sewers can be diverted. It's not too costly. But we do have cases where recently we're doing design itself. They have got a wide connection of a sewers, and I advise my clients strongly, please consider, because what you're diverting is a public sewers, and it's going to cost you a lot of money. And they've got to build trenches and all that, for the pool to sit on top of it. So what we did was, with the evaluation and all that, we decided to put the pool top of the attic, which is awesome. So that you just come out on the 4th level, is that, that's the full level.
Something like that MBS.
Yeah.
What they call the utility pool.
So imagine you're swimming and then you look out and you can actually see the whole skyline in front of you.
And then also a lot of privacy.
It's very immersive, I must say. It's also the context of the site that we're doing. It sees the whole entire timber hill.
Wow.
And it's really,
Easy.
and we're having another one recently, we're quite blessed that we're doing one on top Thompson Hill as well. The pool is right on top and he sees the whole entire Michelle.
Is it more expensive to build it on top versus on the ground level?
Well, in terms of cost-wise, yes, it's more expensive. Mainly, we also introduce, we're not just doing structures. What I remembered recently, we were discussing with some of the specialists, the pool specialists, concrete specialists, my apologies, is basically have additive added onto the concrete, because when it leaks, it's gonna be tough. So we have additional, so we have very thick slabs. We've got double slabs. We've got additive, etc. Besides waterproofing, so that we just want to make sure that the structures that is within the house really endures.
Thank you for the time with us today for this interview. If you really enjoy our interview, please leave your comment down. And if you have any other questions, please also leave it behind. We will have part 2. Thank you so much.
Thank
Me
you.
again, Ming.
I'm Andrea.
Kelvin,
Thank you.
for joining us.
Thank you.